festival, which is happening on 10th, 11th, 12th next month, August 10th, 11th and 12th in Bangalore. It's a place called Danahalli. It's the birthplace of Moshe Vishwaswaraya's place. Last year also we had at the same place. This is the second edition of the same conference. So last year we had about 2,500 startups competed for the prize money. Out of that we selected 15 startups. All the 15 startups selected by us during the last conference, they are all doing well. They are getting good funding and also getting good traction on the business also, because we don't leave this startups soon after the conference. Most of the conference, what happens, you give the award afterwards, they don't worry about how they are doing. Whereas here, every Saturday 10:30 to 11:30, there are 200 global mentors. They are speaking to them 10:30 to 11:30, so that they will identify whether they have got any problem with the business, problem with the finances, problem with the technology mentoring, all those things they will be guiding them. That's the reason why normally in the Silicon Valley, only 1 out of 10 startups they succeed. That means invest in 10 startups, only 1 are successful as per the average Silicon Valley. Whereas here we want to prove other way around. We want to make sure that 9 out of 10 startups selected by us have to succeed. That's the kind of a formula we are working on. So why they are going to succeed is, for example, this conference which is happening on 10th, 11th, 12th in Bangalore, we are getting all the ecosystem partners. On one side, we are bringing the top VCs, venture capitalists, Angel Forum members, managing board partners of many Angel Forum, they are also coming. In addition to that, we are getting a large number of HNIs. This was not the case in many conferences, because what happens is most of the VCs, they see the whether you are already revenue stage, whether you have the product into, you have customers and all that. Then only they look at funding those startups. But many startups started by most of the students from IIIT and IITs and premier institutions. They come from middle class families. They don't come from the business families. So they struggle to manage during that process. That's why they call the so-called death valley of the startups. Most of the startups, they die in the death valley, because not because they are not good, because they don't have right kind of ecosystem support. Mostly the funding is one. The other one is mentoring. These are the two things which most of the startup companies they lack. So that's the reason why many companies they die in the startup death valleys. So we want to make sure that we get mentors to the conference. We get early stage investors like HNIs to the conference. We are also getting the angel investors and also the venture capitalists. That's one side. That's the investment side. The other important thing is, so suppose some startup has got a business, some startup has got some product and he doesn't want to, he is not able to get the business. So for them, unless you connect them to the business leaders, that's the reason why we are inviting a large number of CXOs, global CXOs are coming. If any managing director of a big company, multinational company, it's very difficult, because startups are basically started by few students from the colleges and young people. They don't know how to reach out to those people. So all the GCC leaders are also coming. And similarly, the global CXOs, the global CTOs, CIOs of large companies from America, from London, Paris, and also Tel Aviv, Japan, South Korea, they are all also coming. So these are all the people why we invited them. Basically, the startups, for example, there is a growth space startup. He already got a funding from some investor. He has got a product, but he doesn't know how to get the business. See, without revenue, again they will fail. So we don't want them to fail because they don't have the right kind of connections. So we invited them to this conference so that they will be able to see how they can get the business from them. The third important element is, the future startups are going to be, a lot of technology changes are happening. You must be hearing about ChatGPT, then quantum computing is also likely to come in the next 1 or 2 years. If that comes, the digital 1-0 paradigm is going to be changed. Between 1 and 0, there will be several states. So new algorithms, new mathematics, applied mathematics knowledge is required, and lots of things are required for the engineering college students or degree students. Today, our education system not geared up to provide that kind of education. So human capital is very important particularly for the technology industry, technology startups. That's the reason why we have two roundtables. One is called Education 5.0, is led by industry leaders. Is led by Ramesh Kaza, who is the managing director of the industry. So what industry wants, he is going to discuss in the roundtable, and accordingly that recommendations will be given to the government, state governments, or universities, or IITs, or IIITs, so that the manpower is going to be made available. Without manpower, what is happening? Some companies I have seen, their startup companies from Bangalore, Hyderabad, because there is no manpower here, they are contacting somebody in Vietnam, Philippines, or Czechoslovakia, Poland, they are getting it done. But our boys and girls, they are losing the opportunity just because that human capital, right kind of human capital is not available. That's the reason why we have Education 5.0 as a roundtable. Similarly, University Connect. All the Vice Chancellor, for example, Ramaya University Vice Chancellor is coming, SRM University Vice Chancellor is coming, large Vice Chancellors are coming, IIT directors are also coming, IIT Tirupati, IIT Ahmedabad, IIT Hyderabad, they are also coming, IIIT Hyderabad director is coming. So they are also going to discuss what is that we need to do to help the startup companies, to help the technology industry. So what kind of new curriculums have to be introduced and all that. So that roundtable is going to discuss those things. Apart from that, see this entire conference is focused on rural India. So why we focused on rural India? Because startups, they require some problems to solve. Where are the problems today? Rural India, huge number of labor places in Anantapur, and there are no labor. And I kept it for several years, crop quality, because shortage of labor. So like that many farmers are doing. If every farmer is going for crop quality because labor is not available, we have to import the food from other countries. But if the problem is given to the startup companies, okay, this is the problem, and why don't you have a robotic arm which goes in between the lanes and do all the farming activities? They are working on it. So if you are able to solve those problems in the agriculture, problems in the food technology, problems in supply chain areas, in the rural areas, and we will be helping the farming community and other people in the rural area. So we have roundtables on the food technologies, roundtables on the agriculture technologies, roundtable on the rural finance and rural health. Health is very, very important. Today, in fact, I was reading a newspaper that cancer rate is going alarming stage. Why cancer is increasing in India? It's all because of the wrong food. We are actually taking poison every day, whatever vegetables or fruits and all that, full of pesticides and chemicals. Because of the cancer rate is increasing and chemicals. So that is percolating to southern states also now. In my village, earlier not even one nursing home used to be there. Today there are 2 cancer hospitals in a small town. So that is alarming rate. Why? Because whatever farmers are producing, they are putting a lot of pesticides, chemicals in it, and we are consuming all that. That's the reason why the healthcare. And most importantly, what I noticed during the pandemic in my village, 2 very good families, agriculture families, they got into cancer, and they admitted in some hospitals in Bangalore. By the time patient died, all the farmers, they have to sell off the land and they have to take some loans, and today they are beggars and they can't do begging in the same village. They are coming to construction sites in Bangalore, they are working in some. So this is happening in the big time villages. If you don't arrest this, then there is going to be a big problem in India. Everywhere, I mean, people are going to be burdened with the healthcare costs. So we are trying to see what are the rural healthcare, early prevention. So we are encouraging some startup companies. Why don't you set up the PHCs with all the telemedicine applications and all the testing and all that for preventive care point of view, so that I mean the startup company also will get immense data and also some revenue. At the same time, you are providing an opportunity for the villagers, rural people to get all the tests done early on before cancer go to the 3rd stage or 4th stage and all that. Suppose they are able to detect it. It got detected before it crosses the 2nd stage. So because we are in the urban areas, we got all the facilities, I am able to, suppose if I am living in a village, probably till 3rd stage, 4th stage, I don't know whether I have a cancer in my body or not. So these tests are very, very important in the rural, otherwise rural India is going to be burdened with all these problems, and they will all become beggars eventually if you don't address these things. So that also we are giving as a problem to the startup companies. See, what happens is government may do something, but startup companies make sure that the startup company succeeds. If the startup company succeeds, automatically they provide the good solution to the villages and all that. That's the reason why we have these roundtables, rural health, rural education, rural infrastructure, all these roundtables are there. And rural innovations also one of the important roundtable we are having this conference. In addition to that, like World Economic Forum, which happens in Davos every year, we are planning to have a rural economic forum, how we can actually increase the productivity levels and the income levels of the people in the rural areas. A lot of experts from more than 10 countries are participating in this conference. All of them are the CIOs, CXOs, and ultimate goal is how the startup companies who are coming, how they are getting benefited by attending this conference. So this is what we are doing. I request all of you to come and participate in our conference. Though it is 8 months old, we just started October last year, and not even 8-9 months old. But this year our conference has become international. A lot of people wanted to come and speak, but we don't have speaking opportunity. Initially we thought of only 2 days, but now we'd extend the third day because everybody wants to come and participate in this conference. So this is the kind of foundation we created, India Startup Foundation. Under this foundation, we are doing all these things, and we got requests from other states also, like Rajasthan state and Gujarat state, and other states are also requesting us because there are also a lot of startup companies are there. They wanted us to create the opportunity. In fact, New Jersey
genetically modified seeds which the foreign nations are promoting. So we need to conserve our native seeds. Say if in banana there are probably for 200, 300 varieties of banana. If you say rice, there are more than 1,000 plus varieties of rice. But right now we only it's waterlogging, it's a lot of pesticides, it's faster to do. That is the reason they promote one kind of seed. Right now in this initiative, we are conserving different, collaborating with different farmers who preserve these seeds. We are creating this bank so that every farmer, they can take the seeds from us, they can multiply and enrich the diversity. That is one of the main reasons. And the theme of the total festival is innovation at the bottom of the pyramid. So that is the main theme. So that is the reason we are associated with even Hni&Vcgrama or under the leadership of JH. The vision is to enrich the rural community. That is the reason.
Yeah, the other reason why I chosen Mudanahalli, because in the Hni&Vcgrama, everything is free. Free hospital, free colleges, all the orphan kids they are going, and whoever goes to the hospital, including medicines, even the attendant also for food, everything is free. And now they are taking those hospitals and colleges all over the country and all over the world. In 10 countries who are now becoming beggars. Instead of they going to corporate hospitals, they come to this kind of free hospital where all the best doctors are available. At least we can arrest that.
Out of this, we have selected, screened them. The top 200 startup companies are going to do the live pitch
On 10th.
contest on
They are coming on 10th.
August. And then
We will be selecting about 20.
This is the second.
Yes.
So it is not hectic for you.
No, fortunately I have volunteers, they are all entrepreneurs. I don't have any paid employee, and they are working day and night to make this happen because this is for a cause. Telugu aithe yagnam antaru. I don't know Kannada what they call fire ritual. Yagnam only? Yagna. So we are doing like a tapasya or a yagna because we know that lot of jobs are going to be taken away. All the new AI tools and all that, I don't know, it will have a devastating effect. So before that happens, we have 3-4 years window. So we want to encourage more startups to succeed. So India Startup Foundation started the India Startup Festival last year. That was in October 22. And this is the second edition we are starting in Mudanahalli in Bangalore on 10th, 11th, 12th of August. It's a 3-day festival. First day is all for the startup companies. More than 10,000 startups registered for the competition. Out of that, we'll be selecting the finalists, and they will all be coming to Mudanahalli on 10th of next month, and where all the juries, they're all from different walks of life. Some of them are venture capitalists, some of them are angel forum members, some of them are HNIs, and also CEOs of large companies. They'll be the juries, and they will be selecting final 20 finalists. And those 20 finalists will be doing mentoring during the entire year before we go to the next year, 2024, all these companies, we want to make sure that all the companies have to be successful. And we invited more than 10 country delegations. Majority of them are coming from United States as well as United Kingdom. And a large number of delegations are coming from these two countries, even from Japan, from South Korea and France. There are a lot of delegations are coming. So particularly for the startups, for them to get a business, one is funding. After funding, they have to get a business. For them to meet any big CEO or venture capitalist is very difficult. So we are bringing all of them. For example, there is a roundtable called Global CXO Roundtable. Many CXOs, multi-billion-dollar companies, decision makers from United States, they are all coming and they are participating in the roundtable. Similarly, the Global Capability Center, that means companies like Wells Fargo, then HSBC, then State Street, all the JP Morgan Chase, all these country heads, they are all coming because all of them, they got some problems to be solved in their companies and they want to identify which startup company can solve the problem. That way, startup company is getting a business, because having a product, not getting a business, they will again will not be successful. That's the reason why we are creating all the components, funding on one side, mentoring as on one side, getting the business from all the business leaders, plus academic, we are inviting all the IIT directors, IIT directors, vice chancellors of many universities. They are also coming because human capital also has to be created. Plus, this particular conference is focusing on the rural India. Rural innovation is the bottom of the pyramid innovations, and rural agriculture, food technologies, rural finance, rural healthcare, rural education. All these things are going to be discussed. How we can identify some problems in those rural areas and give these problems to the startup companies and also give them some funding so that they will solve those problems in the rural area. Once they start solving the problems in the rural area, India, along with the urban areas like Bangalore, rural areas also will be benefited. They will also come onto the same platform. That's the reason why we have chosen the theme for this conference are the rural innovations and bottom of the pyramid innovations and all that. And this concept is going to be there for the next 5 years. All the roundtables also will continue for the next roundtables. In fact, I am telling all the roundtable chairmen that not only just giving a bashing in the conference, you should see that every quarter what recommendations has been given by roundtable, whether this recommendation has been implemented or followed, and they have to give a presentation in the next 2024 conference, how the recommendations given in the 2023 roundtable have been implemented on the ground. So we are going to monitor these things. That way, it is not a IRAM, GAIRAM kind of conference. Similarly, for startups also, we want to make sure the selected ones, every week, Saturday, 10:30 to 11:30, will mentor them, whether they want funding, whether they want business, whether they want technology mentoring, all that we'll be doing on a continuous basis. Our theme is our startups to succeed and they have to create jobs. Job creation is the most important for this country at this point of time. With our 1.5 billion population, our population density in our country is very high. As long as job creation engine is running, there won't be any problem. The moment job creation engine stops, then you'll have all hartals, strikes everywhere, and there's going to be a big problem for every industry. That's the reason why we have chosen job creation through the startups is the theme that we are doing like a fire ritual, like a Ignam. And I want all the media people, press people to support this cause and tell all the startups to come and participate in our conference. Thank you.
Sir, your name?
My name is Jay Chaudhary. I am the founder and chairman of the India Startup Foundation.